I don't know what the fucking shit this is. Tell you what, I'd be much better playing this Double Dragon on the Game Boy. Let's give it a try. So here we go with Double Dragon on the Game Boy, and as you can see it's got a 1-player mode or 2-player mode. Unfortunately the 2-player mode is not a cooperative 2-player mode. It's just like a versus, so in other words it's pretty crap. But still the 1-player mode looks good, and best of all it controls quite well as well. Now I know what you're thinking, you're looking at the game right now and you're thinking, oh man, it looks really slow. Well, to be fair, the game is a little bit sluggish. But that doesn't stop it being a good game. In fact, the game actually suits this speed and you do actually become accustomed to its slowness. Doesn't affect the gameplay at all, to be honest. Alright, let's just kick these buggers down the hole. Yeah, go on, get in there, you two, yeah. Now the levels are a hell of a lot shorter than the original arcade version and pretty much every other remake of this game. But considering it's one of the earlier Game Boy games, I suppose it's to be expected. But what isn't to be expected is the complete remake of some of the levels. In fact, the game only has 4 levels in total. This being the second stage, and as you can see it's completely different, it's more like a platformer than anything else. So how well if the moves translates to the Game Boy? You know, it only has 2 buttons after all. Well, you got punch and kick, which is just the A and B buttons. And to jump you got to press A and B together. But surprisingly, all the actual special moves from the arcade are actually in this version. And they do come up pretty well. In fact, it's quite easy to get every single move you want out. Except jumping would be a bit fiddly, especially on bits like this. Gotta make sure you line up that jump perfectly well, otherwise you're going through the platform. Like she did. So while Double Dragon on the old Game Boy may be a bit short, like I said, only 4 levels, it does pack quite a challenge, so you're not going to finish it on your first sitting. Well, hopefully not. And you know, it is a nice little game, but I wouldn't pay a lot of money for it. If you can get it cheap, then why not pick it up?
Capcom presents
Ready?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. Capcom.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Your heroes.
I wanna take you for a ride.
In many ways I do prefer this version over Marvel vs. Capcom 3. At least in this game you can see what the hell's going on. So this is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. I know it was released on Xbox Live, but you know, we're going to play the original version. At least on this, all the extra characters weren't open for you. In fact, actually, I'm surprised Capcom didn't try and sell you all those characters as additional DLC. Now, unlike the original Marvel vs. Capcom, this one uses 3D polygon rendered backgrounds with 2D animated sprites, and the end result is really impressive, especially for its time. This is one of the best looking 2D beat-em-ups out there. You can see what Jill Valentine here. One of her special moves is to make a zombie come on and assist her. As you can see throughout the match, you can call on other members of your party to either take your place or come and aid you in the battle.
Your turn.
Yeah, go on. Also, that clock in the background is in real time because it runs off the Dreamcast's internal clock. So you can see what time I made this video. That's in the morning, by the way. Now, one of the main downsides with the Dreamcast was its controller. And now it was great for some games, but for 2D beat-em-ups it was bloody awful. The D-pad wasn't so great on it, and the fact that you had L and R triggers really didn't suit beat-em-ups very well at all, especially 2D ones. But thankfully, Marvel vs. Capcom doesn't really need the L and R triggers, so you can actually have a pretty good beat-em-up using a standard controller. It may not be the most balanced beat 'em up out there, but certainly one of the most enjoyable. And in many ways the Dreamcast was years ahead of its rivals. Well, the PlayStation 2 I should say, because it really did have online content and online versus games sorted out. It really did have a good network setup, whereas the PlayStation 2 didn't. Another good thing about this game is the more you play, the more points you get, and you can use those points to open up extra characters and different clothes and, you know, various other aspects within the game. Of course, these days they charge you bloody money and have it down as a DLC. Because these days everything's a lot of shit. Money, money, money. Give me your money. What, you paid for the game? Well, tough shit, you can pay for your characters too. Unfortunately, this online network battle doesn't work anymore because the networks are well gone down. But I can tell you, playing in Japan, versus matches worked really well in this game. There was no lag at all most of the time. Oh, it's good old Verytex for the Sega Mega Drive, made by Asmik. Actually, no, it's not made by Asmik, they just released the game. Now this one, the Sega Mega Drive's most underestimated shooters, and well, to be honest, it is a bit of a naff shooter. Well, it's not that bad, but there's certainly a hell of a lot better shooters out there for the Sega Mega Drive. But what makes this shooter special is the soundtrack. It's got one of the best soundtracks I've heard on a Mega Drive shooter. It isn't made by Technosoft, that is. It uses the same sound engine used in Data East's Midnight Resistance. And what a good sound engine it is. I remember trying to play this part of the game is really bad, especially on the big screen. It really does do your eyes in. Try looking at this bit right now on a 50-inch screen. I'll tell you, it really does make you go a bit strange in the eyes. And to be honest, that is probably the most impressive graphics you're going to see in the game, that first level boss. As you can tell, most of the graphics are really nasty in colours. They look like they're from an 8-bit machine. They look like a Nintendo or something, like a Famicom or, you know, a Nintendo Entertainment System. They really are naff and really dull, muddy colours. Like, look at this stage, it looks fucking awful. But like I said, the music's amazing on it, and you know, it plays a fairly decent game. And you do have different speeds which your ship can run at, but you don't really need to change them. The default speed's fine. Exact same explosion sound effects there from Midnight Resistance. And here we go, flying over a load of intestines, or intestines. Well, at least that's what I think they are. They probably are, because look, there's a ribcage. Or it could be chum from Plankton's restaurants from SpongeBob SquarePants. Who knows? Little sperms as well there. Little blue sperms. Now this may seem like the last boss of the game, but actually it's just the last boss of this stage. And a bit of a weird one to take out. You've got to basically shoot the little block in the center. Make sure you get away fast enough though, because once those blocks reform, and if you're still there, you're dead. Now actually the last boss of this game is really difficult. I'm not joking, it just takes the piss. In fact, to beat this game I had to cheat and pause the game and push left and start on the controller to get my shield back. Here's the last boss of the game. Now just watch how insane this gets. I don't know anyone who can kill this thing without cheating. The actual tentacle legs aren't even anywhere near me at one point, and you hear them taking away energy from my shield. See? That's not touching me. Okay. Still easy enough so far. Okay, and it's where the batshit craziness comes in. Look at this. That is insane. But that's Verytex for you. Pretty mundane shooter. Well, could be alright depending on your views, but yeah, to be honest, it is a bit mundane. But cracking music.